So again, Overtime is your opportunity to jump in, ask some questions, give your thoughts. We have had a lot of information being pumped through, specifically through some news media and some headlines that I think are very important for you to know. So many times, because it's not a sexy topic to discuss, a lot of the research, a lot of the statistics, a lot of the problems and some successes go unnoticed because it's not headline news. And it won't be for quite some time because, good grief, brace yourself for impact. We're going into an election year. So I hate these years so much. The only highlight of election years is it's also Olympic year. So gear up for the Olympics this summer in Paris.
And my birthday year.
And your birthday year. Let's go. Yeah. So maybe that does kind of curb some of the less appealing politics. I hate it. I hate it so bad. Hey, Marissa, before we do this, I know he does not listen to this podcast because he hears us mumbling all day, but I want to give a happy birthday shout out to our son, Boston, who turned 6 freaking teen today.
16.
Dude is crazy.
He's going to get his license. What did he do but break curfew last night to
Absolutely.
Say I'm a teenager?
Yeah, he's out sledding until
tubing until almost midnight on a school night.
Like, dude, what the crap?
Right.
He walks in without a coat on. I'm like, man.
He was out in absorbable winter gear.
That's a teenager.
Sweatpants, a sweatshirt.
Yeah. I'm like, you cold? Kind of. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So happy birthday, boss.
Love you.
Going to go do some top golfing tonight for his birthday. Marissa, some interesting things. I know we want to leave some room for some statistics and some highlights that kind of curb some of these things we're going to talk about today for Team Addict Athlete. But I found an interesting story that came out on your birthday, the 29th, talking about U.S. deaths linked to alcohol keep rising, especially in women. Now, if you've listened and been part of the discussion with Team Addict Athlete, specifically here on Overtime, you've heard us talk about women specifically and the alcohol culture that is the wine mummies, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of that kind of stuff started to really take hold during the pandemic 4 years ago. The Health Day Newsweek, they put out an article that I thought was really interesting. And it says deaths where alcohol played a key role have been climbing sharply in the recent years, hitting women even harder than men. It says between 2016 and 2021, the average number of U.S. deaths from excessive alcohol use increased by more than 40,000 people to 178,000 people per year. So 40,000 to 178,000.
Wow.
That's insane from 2016 to 2021.
Yeah.
So another way during the 2020 and 2021, the average of 488 Americans that died each day from excessive drinking.
Yeah.
That's crazy. 488 Americans died each day from excessive drinking.
Yeah.
The report concluded that the increase appears to be accelerating, specifically with women, although men still have a higher rate of death related. They've seen a huge increase and a huge jump in women. So men continue to lose their lives to alcohol in greater numbers than women do, but the rate at which women are dying from excessive drinking is rising faster than research had predicted. And so the overall study says that excessive use among women rose about 35% compared to 27% among men. Yeah. So I'm curious about this as we kind of hear this, and we're at a point now where this doesn't really shock anybody anymore. And it's sad because 488 people die a day just of alcohol. That's mind-blowing.
Well, and often we get distracted with the opiate epidemic because it came out of nowhere, but that's been now more than 20 years that has been on the rise. And alcohol has always been ahead of that and is continuing because I think alcohol or opiates, we're 304 a day was kind of the average. And alcohol is up to 488. Like, that's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
Sad.
It says binge drinking also seems to be on the rise. For example, the prevalence of binge drinking among adults aged 35 to 50 was higher in 2022 than it was any year previous. And so, that rise doesn't really bode well for the future, I don't think. It's kind of like this trend isn't going to stop until we become more aware and more willing to start coping with life a very different way. And again, the culture behind alcohol is a very interesting one. If you don't drink, in a lot of different situations and circumstances, you're found to be kind of odd. And I didn't realize this. I think we're very lucky here in Utah again.
Yeah.
And people can blame the LDS culture, the church, and all that kind of stuff. But it's also kind of nice because it's not in your face 24/7 as much as it is either.
I appreciate the shelter.
Yeah. You know, I mean, you go anywhere else around the country and you see, when you walk in, the first thing you see is their alcohol displays. You know, you have to walk further to get a gallon of milk than you do to get a bottle of wine.
Well, and I've noticed over the years that we've, traveled out of state, those rows of alcohol are getting bigger in the grocery stores.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's becoming just more choices, more options, more everything.
Yeah. Now, the heartbreaking thing here is that there isn't a clear path on what to do to curb this. And, you know, it's going to have to come down to authentically and genuinely what the specific person wants to do.
Yeah.
And everybody out there thinks it's not going to happen to me.
Yeah.
But if 488 people are dying a day, it's going to happen to you eventually.
Yeah.
And this isn't just accidental deaths and DUI accidents and things of that nature. These are a majority of health-related issues. Mm-hmm. You know, things like cirrhosis, things like, you know, like infections and all kinds of other things. I mean, you start looking at, you know, even the calorie concept of alcohol, you know, and how much a bottle of wine carries, you know, calorically. And it really
all the carbs that you're just drinking and drinking. I remember years ago when we owned a treatment center having, a few of the clients come in that were alcoholics. And I remember one of them, just by stopping drinking, she lost like 50 pounds or more, 100 pounds. Like she lost a lot of weight by just stopping drinking. Like she was taking in so many calories of alcohol. And it's so amazing to see how quickly human bodies want to repair themselves. They want to get back to that homeostasis. It's kind of crazy how good the human body is in trying to fix what people do to abuse it. Mm-hmm. But it's really amazing to me to just watch people's faces clear up. Like the puffiness, the redness from alcohol, like, you know, the dark bloodshot eyes. Just as soon as you stop, your body starts to get better and heal itself.
Yeah, it is wild. So with that kind of as the starting line article, there's another one that came out on February 22nd that says nearly 4 in 10 Americans know someone who's died from a drug overdose. That is incredible.
It's rising
4 in 10. Right. And this is the thing. Everyone has someone out there that struggles with some kind of addiction. So you go to your Walmart, wherever you live, and you ask a clerk or a cashier, whoever, and you say, do you know anyone in your family that struggles with addiction? And they will tell you. Everyone knows someone.
Yeah.
That's
and to me, the people that maybe think they don't, it's because they're not thinking hard enough, or they're not really understand or connected to their maybe family and extended family. They just think, oh, no, nobody. No, you do.
So this study says that more than 2 in every 5 Americans know someone who's died from a drug overdose. The study highlights the heavy toll that the U.S. opiate epidemic has taken on through the nation. And this isn't just specifically like opiate medication. This is also the fentanyl and some of the other issues that we're seeing now kind of blanketing the country. It says our findings emphasize the need for more research into the prevalence and the impact of overdose loss. Now here's the deal. This is something that I've been trying to get a lot of people's attention on. And what you are, and I'm going to keep saying it, and some of you have, okay, Blue, you're on your soapbox again, but I'm going to keep saying it. What we're not realizing is that if there's that many people dying of a drug overdose, I would say, we'll be liberal and say maybe 50% of those have children of their own.
And that's probably very low.
And those kids that are getting left behind now have to be raised by non-custodial parents and relatives, and sometimes put into foster care. What I've seen in the last couple of years is these 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds, they have a very difficult time with emotionally regulating themselves. They're struggling because love and loss and grief have kind of plagued their world. So I'm seeing some emotional withdrawal. I'm seeing some cyclic addictions start to kick in. And we are not ready for the opiate orphan epidemic that's right at our doorsteps. And so you will see an increase in crime. You'll see an increase of poverty. You'll see an increase of addiction. We've got to do something with this. And I don't have the silver bullet for this. But we, the people that can, stand up, we've got to be aware of this, that when you're in the presence of an 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old, chances are they've had a loss. That's going to be a hard one.
do you have any, I mean, I know you don't have the silver bullet to fix it, but what are some ideas that you think we personally or the legislature, the government, what can the nation do to help these kids?
I think we all have to stop believing that we don't have, that it's somebody else's problem. I think we all have to start stepping up and start treating the younger generations with a lot more respect than we have been. I mean, you get on social media and you see all the Gen Zs and whatever the younger generation is, right?
Yeah. Alpha.
Yeah, the Alpha generation Alpha. It's like they don't want to work. They're stubborn. They don't have that same grit we had. That's because they have been growing up in a very different world than us. And so first and foremost, we have to start conversating and communicating and showing up for some of these people.
I really don't like it when you get on social media and you just hear people complaining about the younger generation that's just so weak.
It's dumb.
And I'm thinking, why are we fighting on generations? First off, we all had rough whatever in our own different way. But I believe that this younger generation has had so much different trauma that I don't personally even understand. There's no way I went through that kind of thing. I mean, looking at our kids, we have 20, 18, 16, 13, like all of them have lost a friend or somebody they know pretty well in school through suicide or accidents, and that's just that, let alone all of just the way that they're attacked by media. And does that mean you just take away, because I know there's the other side of it where parents are just like, too much screen time, take everything away. Well, it's here and it's here to stay. I mean, that started when, the newspapers and magazines came out, and then TV, guess what? You can't take it away. You can't go backwards
you can't.
On technology. You've got to learn how to understand it, how to work with it, how to, maybe contact your senators and legislators and say what things you'd like safeguards put in place, but you can't just go backwards and take it away.
You can't. And so teachers and mentors and clergy, it's all time for us to kind of step up and start being more aware. Now, obviously, you're not going to be able to replace the parental, involvement, but it takes a village now, and we have to be willing to build some of these relationships. The troops aren't coming. We have to be the troops to show up for these younger ones.
Yeah.
Access to mental health care, mental health therapy is huge, right? I mean, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, where it is, the responsibility, if we want to make change, to have outlets and pathways so this stuff can be easily accessible. A thing I just read here not too long ago, a study showed that teenagers have the most challenging and difficult time seeking services such as addiction recovery, mental health care, because there's not a lot of people out there that can or want to work with them.
Well, and I believe a lot of times too, parents will look at it as like, oh, the school can just fix it. They have school psychologists and counselors. Yes, they do. However, they are so limited. Like most of my brother-in-law is a school counselor, and he's now on the district level and does a lot of training, but he had hundreds on his caseload.
Hundreds.
How do you address one-on-one issues when you have hundreds? And in most cases, once they're really good or they are really good, they quickly move up like he has to the district level and training and out of the one-on-one interactions with the youth.
Right. Well, and I think for any kind of school counselors and doctors and that, we have to be very familiar with ACEs now. We've got to be able to utilize the ACEs survey that kind of goes into identifying trauma and the causality of some of the behavioral issues that you might see.
Yeah.
And that needs to become a part of our lexicon. And I think any involvement from medical or counselor needs to also be very heavy on giving and offering ACEs.
Yeah.
And Utah parents, okay, so if you're not a Utah parent, you can drift off for a second. We need more information. Okay, and there are state-related surveys that we put out that give us a lot of feedback. The problem is that all of us are out there saying we want services, we want help, we need this. Yet when the survey rolls across your child's desk and there's a question on there, Lord forbid, about a question about transgender, you all freak out, and so you pull it. And what happens when you do that is that we don't get the information that we absolutely desperately need to help offer services.
Yeah.
And then when that comes around where you have a kid that starts to go crazy, that wants to shoot up the school or whatnot, then you point fingers back at the government by saying we didn't do enough. That is messed up. Yeah. Now, I get that you have religious beliefs. I understand that you have a choice and you can talk to your kids about sex and pregnancy and all stuff at home.
Yeah.
But when you refuse to allow us to gather information, prepare yourself to not have services. And this is the problem we're seeing in Utah. People are so afraid that if their kid sees the word transgender, that all of a sudden you're going to influence your child to be that.
Change their gender.
I've yet to see a teenage kid that says the reason I have these issues is because I read them on a survey.
As an option. It was an option.
If you are that afraid, then you've got to do a lot more talking at home.
Yeah.
And hopefully you as a parent will gather that information and somehow find a way to get it to the hands of the people. I'm sorry, I get real frustrated with that.
Yeah, you're emotional here.
Well, think about it.
It's true. I mean, in Utah, we have a really amazing survey called the SHARP survey that gathers all this data.
It's so important.
6th grade, 8th grade, up to 12th grade, every 2 years, they take it and gather this information. And not only does it give us a great snapshot of where the youth are and struggles they're having, but it also helps us get funding to Utah, helps us get funding to the schools, to the youth. And there are school districts and parents that have thrown a fit. And so now a few big school districts that have pulled out and said, we're not going to do it because of a couple questions on the data or on the survey. And that then pulls any future funding that you're going to have for like mental health care and other services that you can get from the government into the state, into the schools, and help these kids.
And I'm sorry, but you will be the parents that start pointing fingers back at your school districts because they didn't do enough.
Yeah.
Well, you've got to remember who's at the helm of this. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, if you are so afraid of the word transgender or whatever, sexual orientation, then maybe it's time for you as parents to step up and start learning more and maybe get in and get some help, because I hate to tell you, but it's here to stay. And so when we allow ourselves to be scared by a question because we're so conservative that we think that, things are just going to work itself out, I need you to understand, and you'll see this, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. I'm sorry, but it's not very hard to see the school districts that have pulled this, because you're going to see a lot of problems with the student body. Mm-hmm. You will see an increase of suicide. You'll see an increase of substance abuse, of dropout, of teen pregnancy. You'll see it.
Mental health.
And then you'll wonder why. It's because we're afraid of allowing our child and our families to participate in a survey so that we can know, where do we put resources? Where do we increase counseling? Where do we increase the roles for mental health? Where do we increase, like after school programs? Yep. So it sucks, you guys. It sucks. And so what is a question I can or what is an answer I can give? Parents, it's 2024. We can't be afraid of these topics anymore. We just can't.
We've got to gather data, and you have to be able to let kids feel safe enough that they can answer a survey and not feel like they're going to get in trouble for it. And again, those surveys are anonymous, but right now they're not even they've been pulled from the schools. I heard a statistic yesterday. I can't remember the exact numbers, but kids who miss more than 10% of school a year dramatically decreases their future success, their grade point average, their college, job performance, everything in the future. And do you know how much 10% is? It is 18 days a school year. That's only 2 days a month. So if your child is missing 2 days a month or more, it's a huge indicator of future long-term success, being able to have connection with school and social, but also just the education and the academic piece. That's crazy.
It is.
Mostly because I look back and I think COVID taught us that I don't know if the schools are really doing that much. And so we've even allowed our kids to miss a little bit more than we did before, But it's not just about the academics and what they're learning. It's, connection and relationships with other, adult figures and peers and things like that are also helping them.
Yeah.
And they have to be in school to do that.
Absolutely. And so here I am warning all of the parents throughout the country, really, that this opiate epidemic, the fentanyl issues that we've been seeing that are taking primary caregivers away from family systems, we need information. Because when they're coming into my office at 18, 19, 20, 21, they're already up to their eyes in trauma. Yeah. So, again, if you're afraid of these questions, you might want to look yourself in the mirror and ask why.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of what your kids might say? And if they are, well, then that's a great thing to know so that you guys can have those discussions too.
And again, you need to maybe go see a counselor, a therapist. You need to be educated. You need to understand instead of being
There's nothing wrong with asking for help.
Afraid. Yeah.
Absolutely. This one's going to be interesting too, and I kind of think this is interesting because we've all kind of called this, and people get up in arms about it because it's a very sensitive and protective topic. New studies have found that marijuana has no role in taking up or quitting opiates. When we first pushed this, and everyone wanted this to be like legalized, for recreational, for medical use, the topic, the hot topic was it's going to be able to replace opiate use and abuse.
Long-term pain
and
protector. Yeah.
I know people get so upset with this because they want it to be the magic substance that does everything. It cures glaucoma. Yeah. It cures, opiate dependence. It cures, the aging process. It cures hair loss. And it's like, you wanted it so bad that we were willing to kind of say, yeah, it does this. But guess what? As we know, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because marijuana is not a pain recepting like chemical, right?
Yeah.
So, well, duh. But I thought this was interesting. There's no link between the use of marijuana and a person's use of illicit opiates. In one way or another, this conversation, this study, it has proven that it's its own unique substance that has its own unique pathway. And marijuana isn't a gateway drug anymore. I mean, people always kind of said that, and I kind of never believed that. And it doesn't increase your desire to want to try narcotics, but the research was specifically going for, does this then make it less likely for someone to obtain pain medication? And the answer is no.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because
I just saw that too, that it's saying weed is also ineffective in helping wean addicts off opioids.
Which
we know that.
Which we've talked about before as well.
Kind of a common, I guess, but maybe that's just common to us because in the recovery field,
it's a common discussion.
People think that it helps, and maybe with some it could help with, it is like a lesser. It's a harm reduction, but oftentimes we've seen it personally. People who are in recovery or working towards recovery start using weed, thinking it's going to help with harm reduction, and then it just flips a relapse.
Again, that's just wishful thinking, and it's a replacement for something else. And the fact of the matter is, and again, one way or another, I don't really care what you want to do. It's your choice, and so I'm not up here saying, just say no or whatever. I'm saying, look, if you feel the benefit of it, fantastic.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
If it helps you to have some gummies and to sleep at night,
fan-freaking-tastic.
Great.
Yep, it's 100% up to you, but don't kid yourself that it's anything but marijuana. Like, it's not going to cure the snake oil kind of salesman wants you to believe.
Yeah, it was always funny when everyone thought it was going to fix everything. Well, it's legal, and are all those problems still here? Absolutely.
Exactly. So it says, and this is kind of interesting too, which everyone said impossible. About 120 people die each day from drug overdoses related to opiate medication, and they've seen no significant reduction because they've also had THC in their system. So just because they smoke marijuana doesn't mean that it's taken away. People they're still finding this. It's almost
they're just doing multi sources of
absolutely
of substances.
So cannabis is now legalized for its medical use in 37 states and Washington, D.C., while pain remains the most common reason for prescribing medical marijuana.
Whoa.
Okay, come on. Let's be real. And doctors and physicians, I love the fact that you can do this, but don't fall into that lie. We know it's not. Yeah. If it takes an edge off of the stress, of the depression, whatever, fantastic.
And it could do. But again, it's not a pain
It's
reliever.
not. It never has been. And people go, oh, I know this study. Well, I've seen it too for 20 plus years as I've been doing this. Mm-hmm. And so this kind of just reinforces the fact that you don't have to create a symptom for your desire to want to use this. Does that make sense? Like,
that happens a lot.
yeah,
I need to go to my cannabis store, and I need to have something so I can get a medical card.
It makes no sense.
I mean, all these problems.
Absolutely, and medical marijuana for psychiatric issues as well. It's like you want to also make sure you're prescribing counseling and therapy, because it's only going to, medication in and of itself that comes off of a lab, right?
Yeah,
it's only going to take you 50% of the way. You have to do the other part yourself too. You can't just smoke this and hope that it just goes away. You got to do your part as well.
Oh yeah.
So it says that folks that use non-medical opiates were tracked for this study, and their use of cannabis combined, they found zero like response. They were still taking pain medication despite the fact that they were also smoking marijuana for it. And I also thought it was kind of funny too that in this one specifically they talk about the dependence factor. And again, we were told, and I've heard lots of people, yeah, man, you can't get addicted to weed. Okay. Yeah, you can. Marked tolerance and withdrawal, two factors there. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, when you have those two things, that's a recipe for addiction. And so, the other factors is this is not the same THC that your grandpa and your parents were smoking back in World War II in the 60s and 70s. Yeah. It's not. It is a much higher content of THC, and it's really kind of a no-brainer that yes, you can get addicted to this kind of stuff.
And for sure, the ones that are not in a dispensary, like you don't know what's in that. It is mixed with so much. It's not being produced the same as it was before, and it's dangerous. I mean, even 7-8 years ago, you were starting to see people coming into rehab for only marijuana addiction. Mm-hmm. Where before, I mean, even back then it was like, ha, 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 yeah, they'd laugh them out the door that wasn't something that was even possible. But that's been on the rise.
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing is if it's something, and again, this term kind of bugs me, but we have to use it because people understand it that way. When you want to use it recreationally, but you have to get it medically, be careful on that road because, you're selling out your integrity. And, my thing is to a degree, I wish that states would be a lot more lenient with it. But remember, no matter what you're taking for medical purposes or for recreation, it's going to take away from another part of life. It has to. Yeah. So, it's the same as my stepdad coming back from work every day, hibernating in the garage, never communicating with us because he was always drinking his beer and woodworking. Yeah. It took away from the experience.
Well,
right?
The relationship that you could or couldn't build with him.
Absolutely.
Experiences you could have, because was there a lot of family time? Was there a lot of spending time together? No, because he was isolating.
But if you asked them, they'd say, well, yeah, but there wasn't. Yeah. And so the thing is if you're okay with that and you're down with it and you've got it figured out, more power to you. Go for it. I'm not going to sit here and be like, abstinence is the only way. But be aware, and just don't kid yourself. Don't fall into that dumb trap.
Yeah. Pay attention.
Marissa, those are a few of the, just some of the topics that I wanted to just touch base on. And I know we're a little bit of a shortened overtime here today because we've got a couple more podcasts we have to record and a few other things. Would you mind sharing with them, the listeners, those lovely people out there, the impact that Addict to Athlete had on the people that we served last year?
Yeah. So in just gathering some of our data from 2023, it's pretty amazing. We're so excited and grateful for the grants from the state legislature and being able to help as many people as we have. So last year, we were able to serve 8,405 individuals. We produced 149 podcasts. We aired 63 virtual support group meetings, 255 support group in-person meetings, 194 recovery, wellness, and recreation events.
My gosh.
Yeah, we were busy last year.
Yeah.
And all of this, if you want to check it out, I've updated now on our website on the donate page. You can see some of this as well. We had 8 support group chapters throughout Utah holding meetings, 37 trained recovery coaches, peer support. And like I said, now we're at 40 because we've had 3 just graduate in the 2024 year. We hosted 5 races, hosted 1 softball tournament, presented at 5 professional conferences, hosted 3 in-person Narcan trainings, did full children or Christmas for 36 kids through our Project ELF, and 209 individuals were given scholarships or donations totaling over $49,810.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing about these kind of statistics, and I'm glad that you put them on the website, is because it's kind of like, it feels like boasting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And we just kind of show up and do our thing. And, you know, as a 501c3, you know, we'll publish these things so you guys can see. You know, it's been awesome having some of the grants that we've had to be able to pay, you know, you, me, you know, the coaches, you know, Coach Jensen.
Helping our events and
for helping build all of that. And so it's humbling to see how much has gone back in. You know, and like you said, 40 recovery coaches.
From the beginning of us doing that training, we have 40.
That is amazing, you know. And I'm going to plug a coach I just spoke to this week. You know, Dustin Weaver. He's the big D. He ran across Texas and has just finished the training.
Yep.
I spoke with him on Monday. And Dustin, I hope your mom's doing okay. His mom was having some health problems, but you know, Dustin is going to bring Team Addict to Athlete to the Texas area, around the Houston area.
Super excited.
It's mind-blowing because, you know, he's like, there's nothing like this here. And I got a little bit nostalgic talking to Dustin.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, dude, I remember what that was like when we started this. Like,
at the beginning.
You guys have to understand, when we started this, it was just a few people, you know, and until we received the grants, you know, it was kind of a very strong donating, you know, like income. It was
100% volunteer, 100% for 11 years volunteer from not only us, but some amazing peer recovery coaches and people throughout the state that have helped keep this going for 11 years.
Yeah. And so, you know, to be able to look at that, you know, and it was funny because last night we had some young men come through here, and, you know, I taught them about the Narcan and everything. And, you know, I kind of got this feeling of like, ooh, these young men that are coming through here, and some of the adults that are you know, working out with them and stuff, got to teach them a little bit about what the Narcan is, and, you know, and how to use it. And these are kids that come from families that, you know, you wouldn't think have that issue, yet everyone in one way, shape, or form is going to have a point in time where there might be pain medication in their medicine cabinet. Everyone needs to be trained to use this. So you look at the efforts over the last, 13 years since we've been doing Addict to Athlete, and how far our state's come. We are so lucky to have the resources. I'll tell you, the Utah State Division of Substance Abuse are amazing people. And, you know, I know sometimes we get up in arms in government and blah, 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 but these folks have really allowed the grassroots level programs, you know, the legislation, all kinds of things step forward so we can make these kind of impacts.
And really try to put funding into a lot of different areas too, not just treatment, 12-step, you know, prevention. But, absolutely. You know, spreading that there's multiple different ways even outside of the traditional few places, which is, I think, helping a lot of the recovery efforts here in Utah. Yeah, exactly. So hearing that, you got a few more if you want to. Yes. So just over in the last, because we do some assessments quarterly. So in the last quarter of 2023, we had 82.2% indicate that they had a decrease in depression and anxiety. 82.2% indicate they had a decrease in unhealthy coping behaviors. 82.3% indicated an improvement in utilizing positive coping skills like fitness and music, and that's awesome. Yeah. And 88.9% indicated an improvement in recovery from negative behaviors. 82.3% indicated positive progress towards their recovery and personal goals. 92.1% indicated their outlook on life had improved. And 82% have participated with Addict to Athlete resources for 2 years or more, which 82%. Yeah. That's incredible. Like 82% of the ones that, were assessed in the last quarter. And the beauty that Team Addict to Athlete has is our therapeutic arm to this program. I mean, you have access to, you know, Coach Blue here is a mental health therapist and an addictions counselor, licensed in both. You have Marissa, who is a certified recreational therapist, and, you know, for family systems, and we've done family work together and done some amazing things. But then we have all of our peer trained
trained, coaches. And I was talking to Coach Jensen last night, who was stepping up and taking some athletes under his wing. And, it's cool because it's more than just recreation. It's more than just working out. If I looked at the backbone of what creates this, it's the team. Yeah. It's the relationships that you're building here.
And that is on, one of the questions is the most benefit that you gain. And the highest score every quarter is social support. Sober social support has been the number one help and benefit.
And so on the horizon with Team Addict to Athlete, and this is why I'm hoping that you guys will listen, like with an open heart with this, is that Marissa and I have been aligning with some medical professionals to start doing some deeper research. And we're kind of putting together this idea of being able to do more with a medical model with some pretty amazing individuals. And we'll talk more about this as we gain more information. But we had a meeting last week with some medical professionals about, being able to start identifying, research on how to start predicting some emotional turbulence and some relapse tendencies.
But also like some of the as they detox some of the issues, and so that we can get better predictors and maybe some protocols set and in place for if somebody comes in with a, alcohol addiction, what are some things that we can be prepared for,
Absolutely.
Not just guessing, which is a lot of what treatment has been in the past.
And the goal here is to get you the help that you need faster, and then to get back on your feet as quick as you can, because sometimes we don't have 60, 90, 120 days
to just go to treatment.
Just go to treatment.
And quit your job and leave your family.
But if we could start finding the patterns, which there are, and whatnot, and this will look like, it'll be neat. It'll be like wearing a Fitbit or Apple Watch or something on your wrist, and you just being mindful about when you're having some stress and stuff, and you just marking it down.
Using an app and, working with some amazing medical professionals that have been doing some amazing addiction and neurological research for years.
It's going to be a neat thing, and we'll give you more information on how to be part of this, because we'd love all of you to be part of this in one way, shape, or form. But, being able to pull resources from our community, this coming Tuesday, we have an amazing opportunity where we have some folks coming in to do some acupuncture. And so if you come to our meeting on Tuesday here in the home base.
Orem, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, they're going to do some acupuncture to teach you how to reduce anxiety, reduce stress. It's an amazing thing. I'm hoping to be trained in this myself in April or June, whichever one I can get to, because our schedules are getting full.
Yeah.
But another resource, and we did this up at the Rally for Recovery.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, humbug.
You were skeptic.
I was like, baloney, And they come over and there's 5 trigger points in the ears that they put these little acupuncture needles in.
Did they hurt?
No, not at all. It was actually quite pleasant to go figure. But afterwards, just relaxed. I thought,
and I thought it was really kind of a joke too. Mm-hmm. But even 30 minutes, 40, an hour after, I'm like, you're just a little more chill than usual.
It was awesome.
Like driving home and, busy Salt Lake traffic.
Yelling at people. Yeah.
You were like just calmer.
So if you're in the Utah County area, or you want to come down this coming Tuesday, we're going to have them here, and they're going to do it. It's like a 20-minute procedure, but it is awesome, and you guys will get so much benefit. So we're lucky to have so much resource in Utah.
Yeah, please come out to our meetings. Again, our number one success people are saying is that to have the sober social support. And what does that mean? That means you guys have to get out of your homes. Everyone needs to get out. I know we do offer this and our Tuesday meeting virtually to make things helpful and accessible to anyone who struggles with transportation or lives rurally. But if you're close, come. You need to be in person and get to know people and build those relationships.
Oh man, having a team behind you whenever you're struggling. We have an athlete right now that if you follow our page, you'll see gave the ultimate gift, and she donated a kidney so that one of her teammates could be put up further on the list to receive one himself. And she's had some complications from that. And I was speaking with her today through text messaging, and I'm still just admire her courage. And so I kept reinforcing the fact that you're not alone. You have a team behind you. And that's very true. You do. It's not just me and Marissa and Coach Jensen. It's a team. And so that's where I think the beauty of all those statistics come from.
Yeah.
So jump in. We'd love to have you part of our team. We'd love to have contributed to your life in one way, shape, or form. Jump on the website. Check out our upcoming events, not just the No One Left Behind Team Half Marathon, but our proxy run, recovery run in September.
Everything we do is for the community. It's not just somebody in recovery. Everyone knows somebody or is affected by mental health themselves, not just addiction. So never look at it and think, oh, that's not for me or I don't belong. Everyone is welcome.
And the one thing that I really want to put out to all you guys out there, all the men, so women, you can plug your ears or maybe listen and then tell your husband to come. Every Thursday at 6 o'clock here at the home base, we have a men's specific closed group, meaning men specific. We talk about mental health. We talk about pornography. We talk about chemical addictions. We talk about success and future. And it is an amazing group of individuals that are coming together. And this room should be packed, guys. We know that typically us males, us alpha males, don't believe or think that we need support. We do.
Yeah.
We absolutely do. This is another free resource led by me, a mental health therapist, but driven by you, the participants, every Thursday here at home base at 6 p.m. Yep. It's only an hour. It's only an hour out of your day. But we've had some amazing discussions, Marissa, and we've had some real strong experiences, and these men are coming together, and I'm amazed at how much they can contribute to each other.
Yeah.
So Thursdays, 6 p.m. here at home base, men's specific group. And we're flirting with the idea, and if you guys feel like this is something that you want, because of the mental health licensing and the recreational therapist licensing, we're thinking about starting and helping family specific to go through a home team development course. And so if this is something that you're interested in, you want to bring your family, learn how to recreate and communicate and maybe even counsel together, let us know. Because if we get enough interest, we will design and set aside some time to make that happen as well.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
that's just the impact that we made that last year, and we expect so much more for 2024. So
absolutely,
I hope that my soapbox about the surveys didn't scare anyone away. I also hope that the discussion about marijuana not helping subside pain will help get you thinking.
Yeah.
And I hope that the statistics and the projection of what's coming will influence you to join the team. At least just reach out and let us know how you're doing.
Absolutely.
So, as always, jump on website addict2athlete.org. You'll find all of our contact information. You'll find all kinds of cool things on the horizon, our calendars. You'll find information about chapters that are starting all over. Like I said, the one in Arizona with Coach Dara, and the one that Dustin's going to be starting. And we just had another coach from
upstate New York.
Upstate New York.
That we're looking at starting a chapter.
Yeah, and so
excited.
Everything we do is on that website. It's your one-stop shop. Our team stores. I mean, summer's coming. You're going to want to get in that amazing Addict to Athlete jersey, and they send them out to you, and you don that, and you get to be a running or walking embassy and advocate for team Addict to Athlete team recovery. So above all else, athletes, thank you so much for tuning in. This will be a podcast. If I can convince my daughter to make sure she edits it soon, as we've said, I'm like, dude, our listeners are dying out there. They want to hear this stuff. And so these will be posted as upcoming podcasts. But until next time, we're here for you, but we want you to do your best to turn your mess into your message.